Hi everyone, this is a video presentation on ratio. So I'll try to explain you this topic. It gets confusing sometimes to some students, but I'll try to explain you this concept called ratio in a very simple way. Okay, let's start with a very basic things. So we have this diagram here and it shows a tower, could be a mobile tower or could be a TV tower, and this is a man or say a boy. The height of this boy is 5 feet and the height of this tower is, let's say, 100 feet. Now, if I ask you to compare the height of this TV tower and the height of this boy or the man, how would you do this? You'll do the very basic thing that anyone will do. You will say that the height of this tower is 100 feet and the height of this man is 5 feet. So if I subtract 5 from 100, then this difference will be 95, and this will be 95 feet in terms of its unit. So if we want to compare the heights of this TV tower and the man or the boy, then the difference will be of 95 feet. Fair enough. Let's move to another example. This is person A. The person A's age is 40 years and this is person B. The person B is of 20 years. Okay, the age of person B is 20 years. Now, if I ask you to compare the age of these two people, these two persons, so you'll say that okay, this is 40 and this is 20 years. So if we subtract 20 from 40, then this will be 20 years, and therefore the comparison is that the difference between the person A, the age of the person A is 20 years more than the person B. That's also fair enough. Okay, let's move to this diagram. Now, I'm really very sorry for my horrible drawing, but still, this image shows of a girl. So these are girls, and this image shows of a boy. So we have 25 girls and we have 50 boys. Okay, though these numbers are not exactly the same as what we have written here, but still, just imagine that this is a classroom or any hall and we have 25 girls and 50 boys. Now, if I ask you again to compare the number of girls and the number of boys in this hall or classroom, what you would do? You will say that, hey, since the number of boys are 50 and the number of girls is 25, so 50 is the number of boys and 25 is the number of girls, then 50 minus 25 will be 25, and this tells us that the difference between the number of girls and the number of boys is 25, and that there are 25 more boys in comparison to the girls. Okay, that's also nice. But if I say that we have another way of comparing things, and that is comparison by division. Comparison by division. And what is that? If I say that I'm going to compare the heights of this TV tower or the mobile tower and this man by using division, and that is, if I say height of the tower to the height of the boy or the man, height of the tower to the height of the man is equal to, this is 100 feet, and this division sign, that is we are using the division, and this is 5 feet. Okay, 100 over 5. Okay, this is height of the tower to the height of the man, and this will be 20, right? This will be 20 times. Okay, this will be 20 times, or let me do it, let me delete this thing. Let me say that if we simplify this, that is 100 over 5, then this will be 20 over 1, right? This is 20 over 1. Now, what does this tell us? This tells us that the height of the man and the height of the tower is something like this. Height of the tower is 20 times that of this man. Why? Because this is 20. After simplifying it, it comes to a 20 over 1, right? 20 over 1. This tells us that the height of the tower to the height of the man is 20 ratio 1. This can be written as 20 ratio 1. And what does it tell us? It tells us that the height of the tower is 20 times that of the man, this man. Why? Because after simplifying it, we are getting 20 over 1. And this is 1, this is 20. It tells us that the height of the tower to the height of the man is 20 ratio 1. And it tells us that this is 20 times that of the man. This is what we call as 20 ratio 1. And what does it tell us? It tells us the comparison by division. We are comparing two things. We are comparing two numbers using division, and it is telling how many times, by how many times any value is greater or smaller to the one we are comparing to. So this is a comparison. Now you can clearly see the difference. When we subtracted, it gave us 95 feet. But in this case, it is telling us by how many times the height of the tower is greater than the height of the man. So this is 20 ratio 1. Okay. Same thing will be applied here. If I say that height of this person A to the height of person B, again, what I'm going to use? I'm going to use this thing. Comparison by division. Okay. So if I say height of A to the height of B. This will be height of A to the height of B. So this is, sorry, age. I'm really very sorry. This is not height, this is age. My apologies. Age of A to the age of B. So we have 40 years, like 40, and this is 20. So what's the unit? 40 years and 20 years, right? So what does it tell us? If we simplify it, how will we simplify it? If we divide this thing by how much? If we divide this by 20, right? What is the greatest common divisor or the highest common factor of these two? That is 20. So if we divide by 20 by this numerator and the denominator, what will we get? If we have learned this simplifying, if you remember, when we were learning about fractions. So if we simplify it, then this will be equal to 2 or 1 after simplifying it. What is it telling us? It's telling us that since this is the age of B and this is the age of A, after simplifying it, here we got 1 and here we got 2. That tells us that person B is twice the age of person A. Since this is 2 ratio 1. This is 2 ratio 1. Now don't get confused this with by fraction. Of course in the fraction also we use something like this, but here what we are doing exactly is we are comparing two values, two numbers, 40 over 20. This is telling you the comparison of 20 with 40 with 20, 2 with 1. What does it tell us? It tells us that the age of person A is twice the age of person B. Okay, it's 2 times, again is 2 times. And what will we say? This is 2 ratio 1. 2 ratio 1. Again, what is the ratio? Ratio is a comparison by division. Here we subtracted, we got 20 years, but in this case we are getting by how many times the age of A is greater than the age of B. Okay, this is again a ratio where we have compared two values. Now come to this one. When you subtract it, you got 25 as a difference of the number of boys and the number of girls, and that the 25, we have 25 more boys in comparison to girls. So if I have to apply this comparison by division, comparison by division, how will we do this? What we are going to do is we'll say number of boys to the number of girls is equal to, what's the number of boys? Number of boys is what? Is 50. What's the number of girls? Number of girls is 25. Okay, so 50 and 25. Now if we want to simplify it further and divide both the numerator and the denominator by 25, you will get, this will be what? 2 or 1. Now don't get confused that, hey, is it like in every case we'll get 2 ratio 1? Because here also we saw that it's 2 ratio 1. Here also it's 2 ratio 1. Here also this is, sorry, in this case we have 20 ratio 1. But my point is, like in this case also you got 2 ratio 1, but it's not always the case. What does this tell us? This tells us that we have 2 times more boys than girls. That is, the number of boys, this will be 2 ratio 1. After simplifying it, this tells us 2 ratio 1, 2 ratio 1, and this tells us that the number of boys is 2 times that of number of girls. So this is again an example of ratio. What is a ratio? It's a comparison by division, and we are not doing here subtraction, and here we are comparing two values or numbers. We have 50, we have 25. After simplifying it, we got 2, we got 1. Since this is 2 ratio 1, and what is 2 ratio 1? Number of boys to the number of girls. That is, first you will mention the number of boys and then you will mention the number of girls. After simplifying it, we'll get the ratio, and this ratio tells us that by how many times that value 1 is different from, greater or smaller than value B or second value. Now again, you can write it as this one also as number of girls to the number of boys. Okay, in this case, since this will be 25 over 50, and this will give us 1 over 2, 1 ratio 2. Again, this is telling us that the number of boys is twice the number of girls. Okay, both if you go by this way or by this way, both these will tell the same thing, that the number of boys is twice that of number of girls. Same thing can be done here. We can write as age of B to the age of A. So in that case, if we write age of age of B to the age of A. In that case, this will be 20 or 40. After simplifying it, we'll get 1 over 2. This tells us that the person A is twice the age of person B, right? Same thing, what we got here. Okay. Similarly here, if we write this height of the man to the height of the tower, in that case, this will be 5 over 100. And this will give us 1 over 20. That is 1:20. This tells us that it is representing what? The height of the man. So the height of the man is the height of the tower is 20 times of that of man. Okay. Now you would be thinking that, saying that, hey, what's the big deal in that? Because anyway, we can compare by subtraction, and then what's the need of comparison by division? Well, it's an important tool for us, right? Why? Let's take a very nice example, and I'm again sorry for my poor drawing. Okay, if this is our Earth, okay, this is our planet Earth, and this is the space station. We are in a space. Okay, just imagine that you are in the space, and this is our space station. This is our space station. Okay, now the space station revolves around the Earth, right, in an Earth orbit, in the lower Earth orbit, and it is moving by the speed of 27,600 km per hour. In 1 hour, it travels 27,600 km. Now, there is a truck that is moving on the planet Earth, right, on the road of our planet, and that is moving by 10 km per hour. Let's suppose that it's a contrived situation where we are comparing, the speed of these two. So what you will do, whether you will subtract it, you will do 27,600 minus 10 in order to compare the speed of these two. No, it's far too unwieldy, right? It's impractical. So what you will do, again, in this case, you will use the comparison by division, and that is what the concept of ratio. In this case, you will do speed of the space station, SS, to the speed of the truck, of the van, whatever. This will be equal to, this is 27,600 divided by over 10, and this will give us 2,760 over 1. This is 2760 ratio 1. What does it tell us? It tells us that the speed of the space station is 2,760 times that of this truck, or the van, or the bus, whatever, or the vehicle, anything. Okay, so again we use the concept of ratio. This is 2760 ratio 1. It's telling us the comparison of two different values, two different numbers. Okay, another example. So you can see that in this case, subtraction is not an option. It's not a good option. It's really very stupid to use subtraction and then tell the comparison of the speed of these two things. But this is a very accurate way to compare the speeds. Now in this case, let's assume that this is our sun, okay, the star of our solar system, sun, and if this is the size of our sun, then this would be the size of the planet Earth. Now this is sun, this is Earth. The scientists tell us that if the sun were hollow, okay, the sun were hollow, then we can fill this sun with 1 million Earth. Okay, 10 lakh this is the number of Earth that can be filled if the sun were hollow. We can fill by this value. So if one asks you to compare the size of the sun and come to and with the size of the earth, will you subtract? That is the size of this diameter, radius, or volume, or whatever of the sun minus of this one? No. Again, you will use the concept of comparison by division, and that is the ratio. You will use ratio, where you will do size of the sun to the size of the earth. Okay, let this be A and let this be B. Okay, we are using some variables, and then you can, depending upon what value you put here, you can get the ratio. Let it be A ratio B only. Okay, in that case, when you'll get the final value, you can tell by how many times the size of the sun is greater than the earth, right? So this is again a very good example of use of ratio. Okay, how we compare two values by division. This is this is the very basic explanation of a ratio. Again, what is a ratio? Ratio is telling you to compare by division and not by subtraction. It's a way of comparing. And how will you say this? This will be 20:1. 20:1. What does it tell us in this case? That the height of the tower is 20 times that of this map.